Okay, moving on to question 5. Diagram below shows the relative size of some energy flows between 4 types of organisms in a small pond over 1 year. So we've got our sunlight coming in and algae, zooplankton, fish, water snails. So producers, consumers, consumers, consumers. What is the gross productivity of the primary consumers? So the gross productivity of the primary consumers. So these are our primary consumers. Remember I showed you the symbol for how you would write primary, and this is secondary here. The fish are our secondary consumers. So we're only looking at these ones. So the gross productivity is how much they ate and then we've got how much they're passing on to the fish. So we don't know. Okay, so they took in 6 units. They took in 15 units. 6 plus 9 is 15. They took in 15 units of energy from the algae. And we don't know how much they lost to feces. And we don't know how much in the end they ended up paying in taxes. Which doesn't matter too much because we're looking at gross productivity, but we don't know this part. We know what they took in, but we don't know this part. We know that they passed on this much, 2 units of energy. So we're looking at 2, or we're looking at 15. So they took in this much, and they gave out this much. So 2 is their net. 2 is MPP. This seems like it's a bad question because I don't know how much of the algae they actually absorbed into their bodies. I know that they were left with 2 units of energy that they could share with the fish. So we know that GPP equals MPP plus R, but I'm not told what R is, and I'm trying to find out what GPP is, and all I know is this. This is 2, and this 15 here. So the only way I can assume for this question, and the reason I'm not re-recording this and doing it again for you all nicely and neatly, is because this is the same thought process that you might go through as well. And I think it's useful to see me thinking it through. But this amount here, because they don't tell me the information, it makes me think that this is how much energy they're actually getting, because it says some energy flows. And because they're not telling me anything about the feces and whether they digested all of this algae or not, I have to think that they're actually getting 9 units of energy and 6 units of energy from the zooplankton or the water snails. And so that makes me think that the gross productivity is 15. The net productivity is definitely 2. I find this a bit confusing, but because it's energy flows and it's not like the mass of food or the mass of algae digested, but the energy flow, I'm going to assume that they mean that, and I'm going to make my best guess. I wouldn't call it a guess, I'd call it an educated hypothesis, and say that the answer is C. So we'll check that. We'll see if I'm wrong. Maybe I will erase it. Okay, so in a moment here, okay, I'm going to click stop, and I'll meet you in the next question.